Hi there, my name is Jeff Bryde. It's funny how everybody has a story to tell in their lifetime, and fortunately I've driven close to 2,000 miles to San Felipe, Mexico to tell my story. What is it? It's a story about speaking up for your speaking up for yourself and not letting, employers take advantage of workers and stuff like that. My job was terminated after 38 years of employment because I brought up a health and safety issue, which my employer didn't act on. And you go through the proper channels of telling your supervisor and stuff like that. And anyhow, what's happened to me is that because I went to the media to bring out a health and safety issue, my job was terminated. I've lost pretty well everything that I had. It's between your job and your house and your girlfriend. Those were three things that kind of hit me pretty strong, pretty hard. Anyhow, this is a picture of me and my girlfriend in 2009. We were in Hawaii at the time. This is another picture of her and I. What I lost is dignity. You lose something in part of you. This is a home that I lost. Very well, sell it or lose it. And I ended up by selling it and taking a loss. And because when you're branded a whistleblower, people don't want to hire you. You're actually blacklisted. And I actually found that out. I had probably 50 job applications that I put out there, and not one was I, Anyhow, the issue we had at my place of employment were contamination of fruit bins, and in this case it was pigeon feces. These are bins that I put aside in 2010, and management personnel they took pictures of this. Here's some more pictures of this. The contamination was inside the bins and outside the bins, and it actually carried on to farm workers and co-workers. On May 11th, 2011, our operation manager, I got a hold of in the morning, and I wanted to show him the bins that were contaminated. And I told him something had to be done because we had a very, very serious health and safety issue at our hands. 6 hours later, I was summoned into the office, and I was given a cease and desist order not to talk to the media. In other words, I was told to shut up. A bin that came out a week after I got my job back from a 6 months suspension. As much as a company didn't want to see that contaminated bins were coming into the plant, this was evidence that the bins were coming in contaminated. This was an article in the Kelowna Daily Courier. It was at the end of April, I believe, in 2011, and it told about a woman who contacted something from pigeon feces and ended up in being blind. This was given to me from a co-worker. This is part of the contamination that was on the ground. This picture was taken in the spring of 2012. And this is the contamination on the fruit bins. More contamination. This picture here is in May of 2012. Our food safe officer took us aside and told us the danger of inhaling the dried up pigeon feces. What happens is that once this feces dries up, it gets airborne. And when it gets airborne, if you breathe it in, if you got some sort of weak immune system, if you're the young or the old elderly, that this is where you're most vulnerable to contact this. I ended up in emergency at Kelowna General Hospital on May 13th, 2011, because that afternoon I came in contact with this spores, and initially I felt nauseated, went to having a hoarse throat, and by the next morning I was vomiting. I had chills, I had abdominal pains, I had muscle spasms, and that's when I took myself into emergency. Some of the diseases that our food safe officer said that people can contact were cryptococinosis, histoplasmosis, fungal meningitis, and E. coli. These were things you don't fool around with. People die from this. This is a bin that was pigeon contamination feces were picked up and shoveled into plastic bags. Here's some more pigeon feces on fruit bins. These pictures were sent to me from a co-worker at our Rutland plant. Twice my former plant manager said there was not a problem at this particular plant. This cleanup area, notice the green, that's from the pigeon feces. So what's happened when they were spraying down the slab, this stuff was going into the soil and stuff like that. As long as it's wet, it poses no hazard. It's only when it's dry that it creates a problem. Here's some more of the pigeon feces at our Rutland plant. Finally, the plant manager acknowledged there was a problem. These pictures were taken 3 months after I got fired in January 2013. So this is the packing house. They knew about this, and they tried to cover things up. These bins were actually hauled to the landfill, and they were being chipped. This is the spring of 2013. The next pictures that I have here are, you can see the pigeon pieces on the bins, and what our plant CEO did at the time, and I'm not sure if it was because accordance with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, but what they did, instead of shipping the bins to the landfill first, they were pressure washing, they were cleaning the contamination, and then sending the bins to the landfill. This is a picture I took, and I think it was in March. It's the Grim Reaper, fire for speaking the truth. I put the sign up on probably at 2 o'clock on a Wednesday morning. By 11 o'clock the same morning, the city workers took it down. I had to abort. I was planning on going to Victoria to plead my case. I got 30 miles out of Kelowna, and the axles on my wagon were bending, and I just couldn't make it any further. This was on the front page of the Kelowna Daily Courier. This was taken a few days before my trip, and I was on a kind of like a crusade. Like I said, I had to terminate this my plea for. I just wanted to get the public out, the politicians in Victoria. What happened is a tragedy because you're not supposed to be disciplined for speaking the truth. And when the truth is a health and safety issue and is covered up, this was covered up by the Okanagan Tree Fruit Cooperative. It was covered up by the United Food Commercials Worker Union, Local 247, and also it was covered up by WorkSafe BC. Like I say, I ended up in emergency. There was unsubstantial reports that a farm worker in 2011 was exposed to this pigeon feces. Excuse me. And passed away. I don't know if he was exposed to this. All I know is that there was 2,000 bins sent to this one orchard, and he happened to be worked at that orchard, and what I'm trying to do is get some sort of public inquiry into, did a farm worker die because of this contamination. Anyways, I need help. Like I said, I've lost a few things in my life, and right now I'm in Mexico telling my story, and I want to come back home. I want to have a job. I want to have a home. Right now, living in an RV is sure I got a chance to see parts of North America, parts I've never been before, but I need a base. I need some place to call home. And I don't like the life of a gypsy or a vagabond. I need a home. I miss having a home. So if there's anybody out there who could help me, and I really, really appreciate it. I've gone through depression, and I tell you what, if I lived in the United States with the gun laws that they have, I probably would have blown my brains out months ago. Thank God I live in a place like Canada where guns are not easy to get hold of. So anyways, that's my story, and like I say, if there's anybody out there who's gone through some similar situations that I've gone through, or anybody who could help me, and there was a definite cover-up. There's no doubt about it between the, like I said, between the packing house and the union and WorkSafe BC, because and I need a public inquiry. I want to clear my name. I've got no criminal record. I've voted ever since I was 18 years old. I never missed voting. I know the difference between right and wrong, and in this case I'd be wrong. They say that pictures don't lie. Well, I got pictures, the evidence to show that what happened is real, and it affected me personally, and it might affect somebody else who possibly ended up dying. So that's